Hi, I'm Mira Raven, and welcome to Magifest 5D. I'm here to bring you to your highest timeline. I am a multi instrumentalist, I am a music coach, and I'm also a creative identity consultant. So, what that is, I know it sounds kind of like, what is that? So, what I do is I work with people on cultivating their creative identity. So, what that really just means is I help you use creativity as a way to express and understand deeper levels of yourself. So, it's kind of a mixture of coaching, life coaching, a little bit of music therapy, and like a music lesson or a traditional music lesson. But it's absolutely dependent on the person I'm working with, and I customize it according to your creative exploration needs. What you want to explore, what you want to delve into, what you want to improve, all of that. So it's a really unique offering, and if it's something that you want to learn more about, you should definitely hop on a discovery call with me, which will be linked in the description box. So I'm going to try to get right into today's topic. So today I want to talk about what is meant for you and how what is meant for you will always find you. If it's truly meant for you, it will find you. It will find you. And I think this is something that is kind of tricky because we're told that, and yet sometimes we feel like, oh, well, we feel regret about certain decisions we've made. We'll feel like, well, I should have done this, and if I had done this, I would be here, but the reality is that even when you've made mistakes and even when you've gone in paths that were unpleasant or uncomfortable, that needed to happen. That was meant for you because it was something that you needed to learn through that experience. So I can't tell you how many different like negative, traumatic, like unfortunate experiences I've gone through. And every time I come out of it on the other side, I'm always grateful. When you're in it, you can't really feel grateful because you're taking it in, right? You're processing it. But when you kind of go through it and you look back in retrospect, a lot of times you can see how it built your character, how it allowed you to understand sometimes what you need, right? Sometimes you have to get what you don't want to realize what you do want, right? So I think in a lot of manifestation circles and a lot of sort of spiritual circles, there's a lot of anxiety around trying to manifest, right? And trying to get what you desire. But I feel like one of the main messages that I've received a couple of times now, especially in the last couple of weeks, because I'm personally in a situation, I'm in a transition myself, and I'm trying to, I found myself getting really caught up in I want to make the right decision. I want to make the right decision. Like I have to make the right decision. If I don't make the right decision, then I will end up in this terrible situation. Or if I don't do the right things every moment of every day, then I will be led down a path because, and there's some truth sort of to that in the sense that everything that you do is sort of like this domino effect, and each little thing sets up the next little thing, right? So it becomes this like continual momentum that's created towards a certain direction. So yes, it is important, like everything that you do is important in a way, but I think the point that I was missing initially, and the point that many people I think miss when they think about that, is that yes, everything that you do matters, and yes, you want to be as mindful as possible in your actions, but it's not like you make this mistake or you do this thing and it's ruined. right? Like, I feel like there's this feeling of like, okay, if I don't act perfectly all the time, I'm going to ruin it, and it's going to keep me from getting what I want, or it's going to keep me from getting what I desire. But the reality is, if it is meant for you, it will truly find you, and nobody can ever take it from you. So like there's a lot of different ways that this could show up. So let's talk about just personal pursuits or your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. Like maybe it's a job, right? Or maybe it's an apartment or a house, right? And I actually, to use one of my own examples, I am in the middle of, like I said, transitioning to a new space. And I found a space that I really loved. And I was getting excited. But then I was like, oh, don't get too excited. Like, I don't want to have too much importance on this because I don't want to ruin it, right? So I'm trying to find this balance between, wanting it, not wanting it. But I also had an experience when I was looking for a new car where I knew exactly what I wanted. And I pictured exactly what that was, and I imagined and envisioned myself in this car. And I found like the exact car that I was, not really kind of, it was literally pretty much the exact make, model, interior, exterior color that I was looking for. And when I found it, I was like, the price was kind of low, and it had been around. And I thought, well, if it's still around, if it's really meant for me, right, then it will still be around. And I'll give you, a little more information as an example as well. So like, I had this idea that I wanted this particular car, black exterior, black interior, right? And so a 2017 version of this car came into my sphere. And I thought, okay, this is pretty much what I want. But in the back of my mind, like the ultimate thing that I wanted was a 2022, not a 2017 or 2015, whatever it was. But anyway, I looked at the 2017, 2015. I was like, ooh, this is perfect. It's a good deal. I should get it. And I kind of hesitated a little bit because I was like, well, let's just see. And I wanted to rush, but then I was like, oh, well, if it's really for me, then it will work out. And I missed it, and I didn't get it. And I was like, oh man. And I felt regret because I thought, oh man, like that was a good deal, but I said, you know what? I kept saying to myself, if it was really meant for me, it would have worked out. And I said, there has to be something better for me. And I kind of just let it go. I didn't get too upset about it. I was like, yeah, there has to be something better for me. And if it's really for me, then it will be for me. Sure enough, then I get the 2022, which is exactly what I wanted, showed up. But I was very skeptical about it. I was like, what if this is a lemon? And I remember being like not trusting that I was going to get what I wanted. I was like, no, something bad's going to happen. And the interesting thing is, after I got the car, something bad did happen, because I was like, oh man, see, something bad's going to happen. But then after that, the funny thing was, something bad happened to the car, right? There was an issue with a steering, or issue with something. I had to take the car back the next day. And so I took it back the next day and told them what was going on. And I basically said, hey, I'm not going to finish the financing until you get these things done. So took the car back. They said they would work on some things. They had to replace a part for a thing. I'm just being really general because we don't need all the specific details. But basically, there was a part on back order. So they had given me a loaner. So they gave me a brand new 2025 loaner while I'm waiting for my car to get fixed. So I got to drive a brand new car. And I thought, okay, it's just going to be for a week. But then the part was on back order still. And I basically, long story short, I ended up driving a brand new car for like 3 weeks, almost a month. Hadn't put any miles on my car. I got them to fix the issue that they said they would fix. And then basically they were trying, this was towards the end of the year, so they tried to get me to finance it before the end of the year so they'd get their sales, right? But I said, no, I want to make sure that this car is in tip-top shape, because there was already that issue that happened the first time. So I thought, oh, let me make sure everything's good. So I make sure, everything's good with them. Everything's good with the car. I asked them to make a few changes and fix everything up, and So it was a lot of back and forth. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of back and forth before I got the car. And I had to lay down my boundaries. But I got the car. Not only did I get the car, but I got the car and I got a better financing deal because I waited because of all this delay, right? And so the point I'm trying to say is that sometimes we don't know why certain things are being set up for us, because during all this stuff happening where the part was back ordered, I was in the car, I was in limbo, I didn't know what was going to happen, and I thought I just had to force myself to keep being like, if this car is meant for me, it's meant for me. It's all going to work out. In the end, it's all going to work out better than I imagined. And the truth was, it worked out better than I could have imagined. Because not only did I get the car, but I got the car even better, a better value than it was if I had not had the issue, right? Or if I had not noticed that issue, or if that issue didn't come up 24 hours in advance, I may have not taken the car back, right? And gotten all those things fixed. But I got all the things fixed. I got a better financing deal. I got to skip putting miles on my car for 3 weeks and using a brand new car. And so the moral here is that when something is for you, there's nothing that will keep you from it. Even when you think you're being kept from it, if you think you're being kept from something, if you're convinced that something is for you and it's not working out, then I encourage you to really ask yourself, is this really for you, or do you want it to be for you? Right? So let's use another example, like a relationship, a person, right? And so like, let's say you really think that this person is the one for you, but it's just not working out. It's just not working out. You're trying, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's not working out. And the thing is that part of it, sometimes if you're trying too hard for something and trying too hard to get something, it's not going to work out because you're putting too much of this like trying, desire, I need energy versus, I kind of think this would be good for me. I wonder if it really is for me. And just kind of sit back and see. Sit back and let things play out and see. Because if you let things just kind of play out and you just kind of play with life a little bit rather than being like, I need to get this. This is for me. I need, it's like, no. Just like sit back and observe and see, is this really for me? Do I really feel like this is for me? And if I think it's for me, why? Because sometimes we think something is for us because we've been conditioned to think that this is what we need, this is what we want. I'll give you an example with my housing situation. So I was obsessed with a particular neighborhood and I wanted to be in this neighborhood. And I had this whole thing of like, I want this particular house. I want this neighborhood. This is what I want. This is who I want to be. This is blah, 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 blah. And then as time went on, right, I found myself trying so hard to change, like be like, no, I need to level up. I need to be this person, right? And the interesting thing that's been occurring, and this is actually rather recent, right? So I'm always going to share things that I'm going through or that I've gone through because I want you guys to know that I'm not just making stuff up. This is a lot of the things that I'm sharing are based off of real experiences that I go through or have gone through. So with this situation, I had this idea that I want this particular apartment. I need to have this, this kind of lifestyle. I need to be in this neighborhood. But when I really took the time to evaluate the people around me and what was going on in my neighborhood, there was a lot of people that were moving to my current neighborhood. But I had it in my head that if I wasn't moving out of my neighborhood, if I wasn't moving and I was staying in the same place, then I wasn't moving forward. But that's an illusion. You can move physically and you can move spiritually and mentally, right? And so I realized that it's not that I need to move physically in the sense that I need to be in a completely different neighborhood. Maybe if that's meant for me, I'm open to it. But instead of being like forceful about, no, it has to be this neighborhood, it has to be this, it has to be this life, I have to be this person, I have to fit myself in this box. Instead of that, I realized like, but like, I like my neighborhood. I like the little stores. I like that I know where everything is. And it's hard, right? To think about what and how and who will transform you, right? I guess those don't all work together. What would transform you, who will transform you, and how you'll transform. It's hard to know that. It's hard to really feel confident when you don't know, when it's a discovery, when it's an adventure and you're going through the experience. So what I realized was that the change and the shift was more about what was going on inside of me than it was what was outside of me. In other words, I don't necessarily need to move to a new neighborhood to level up. I just need to level up. I just need to level up how I act, who I am. You know, being the neighborhood that I'm in may have an effect depending on what I want in my lifestyle. But I also realized that it's like I thought I knew what I wanted, right? And the same thing happened in relationships where I had an ideal person, right? And this is what I want, here's my checklist of things. And then I met somebody who checked off quite a bit of boxes, but I wasn't actually feeling happy with them. Whereas the person that wasn't really my type was actually ironically giving me what I needed. And sometimes it's not what you want, but it's what you need. And I think that that ties into this idea of what's truly meant for you will find you. And so when you realize what's truly meant for you will find you, you realize that you don't have to like try so hard or put in so much effort to get what you want. The things that you naturally need and are part of your development and your path will naturally, they're already set to come to you. And it's okay if you have a detour. It's okay. Because the detour was probably part of you getting exactly what you're trying to get. And you have to realize that. I feel like that's the biggest takeaway I want you to get today, is that those detours, those moments when you're like, things are not going the way that I expected. Usually that is all part of the plan. You just don't know what's going on. Like, you're not in charge, right? You're not, well, you are the creator, right? But like, you're not in the conscious mindset to be able to know how everything is coming together, if that makes sense. So you have to just trust. You have to know that as long as you're doing what feels aligned to you, what feels right to you, you can't do any wrong. Like, you can do no wrong. You can do no wrong. You are perfect. And when I say you are perfect, I mean you are perfectly imperfect. What I mean by that is that we're here to make mistakes. We're here to grow. We're here to learn. You cannot learn if you do not make mistakes. We are made to stumble and fumble and mumble through life. We are not meant to just perfectly come out and go to our destination. Like, no, that's boring. It's boring. It's boring. We want excitement. We want contrast. We want that because it makes life rich and interesting. We need something to push against. We need a little friction sometimes. And when you recognize it for what it is, it doesn't even bother you anymore. You go, oh, here's some friction. This is interesting. Let's see what happens with this. And when you learn how to kind of live and let live with that, your life starts to unfold in beautiful ways. Beautiful ways. So again, I want you to remember, what is meant for you is truly meant for you. It is truly meant for you, and nothing and no one can take that from you. I just want you to remember that. So I hope that's helpful. I do want to mention, I didn't mention it at the beginning, but I want to mention it now. I do have a cohort session. It's an 8-week cohort session called Find Your Authentic Voice. And in this 8-week cohort session, we focus on digging deeper into your self, into your psyche, and understanding the levels of the self, right? So we do a deep dive, and there's a workbook. There is a group call every week. There is accountability check-ins every week with me, yours truly. And I feel like it's definitely a very deep program, in the sense that we don't just go over the basics. Like, we definitely go over, it's very holistic. Like, we go over your programming, your diet, your patterns, your habits, your beliefs. Like, we literally are taking everything that makes up you, and we are reassessing it and going, okay, where do we want to reprogram? And the thing is that I'm not here to reprogram you for what I think you should be. That's not this program. This program is all about just guiding you through a process in which you can recreate and reprogram yourself. So you're reprogramming yourself. You're deciding what is important to you. You're deciding what you want your programming to be, right? So I want to be very clear about that, because I believe in freedom. I want everybody to create the life that they want. So with that being said, if you're interested, I would love to speak with you. I have a discovery call link in the description below, and just feel free to, reach out to me. I love working with people. I really like helping people get to their goals. And also, reminder, I do have the Creative Identity Consulting, which is a one-on-one offering. So the cohort is a group offering, and the Creative Identity Consulting is a one-on-one offering. So it's a little bit more premium, but if you want something more involved, more immersive, then I would definitely go for that. But either way, you can talk to me and do a discovery call. It's completely free. It's a great way to get to know me, and I can get to know you and see what works best for you. So anyway, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day or evening, and I will see you next time. Peace, everyone.